Hey everyone, ready for another deep dive? This one goes out to all of you prepping for those BA exams, the ones that make you sweat a little.
Well, we're here to help with that.
That's right, we've got your back, and based on what you sent us, looks like Somerset Maugham is on the menu.
The Lotus Eater specifically, right?
You got it. So let's dive into this story and hopefully arm you with the knowledge to, crush those exam questions. What do you have to say?
Sounds like a plan.
Awesome. So first things first, who is this Maugham guy and what's the deal with this Lotus Eater title? It sounds kind of, relaxing.
Yeah, it can be a little deceptive. See, Maugham was a British writer, super popular in the early 20th century, known for his sharp wit and keen observations about human nature, all that. The Lotus Eater, well, it's classic Maugham. It's a short story, deceptively simple on the surface, but underneath, oh boy, it grapples with some pretty big questions.
Like what?
Like what makes us happy? What's a life well lived? Is it all about chasing pleasure, or is there something more? Those kinds of things.
Okay, I'm intrigued, but before we get too deep into the existential stuff, maybe we should set the scene, give our listeners a little plot rundown.
Sure. So the story takes place in Capri, beautiful island off the coast of Italy. Our main character, we never actually learn his name.
Wait, really? He's nameless?
Yep, nameless, which I think adds to the story's themes, but we can get to that later. Anyway, this guy, he's a former stockbroker from London, had a good career, made a decent pile of money, but he wasn't happy, felt empty, unfulfilled. So what does he do? He decides to chuck it all and move to Capri to become a Lotus Eater.
Ah, okay, so that's where the title comes in.
Exactly. Now, the term Lotus Eater comes from Greek mythology. These sailors encounter an island where the people eat these magical lotus flowers. And when they eat them, they become, kind of blissed out zombies.
Gubbies.
Okay, maybe not full-on zombies. But they lose all ambition, all desire for anything. They just want to laze around and eat lotus flowers all day long.
So is that what our nameless protagonist is doing? Just chilling out and forgetting about the world?
He tries to, yeah. He finds this little pension in Capri, beautiful place, run by a friendly couple, and for the first few years, he's pretty content. He spends his days swimming, reading, enjoying the scenery, the simple life.
Sounds pretty idyllic, actually.
It does, doesn't it? But here's the thing. Mom's not just telling us a story about a guy who retires to a beautiful island. He's using this setting, this character, this whole Lotus Eater concept to explore something deeper.
Okay, I'm listening. Lay it on me.
All right, well, first let's talk about the setting. Capri. It's not just a pretty backdrop. It's like, it's practically another character in the story. Mom describes it in such vivid detail, the lush vegetation, the sparkling sea, the changing seasons, and all of this beauty. It emphasizes the passage of time. Well, think about it. Spring in Capri, it's all about new life, growth, possibility. Summer, it's hot, languid, full of pleasure, and maybe a little bit of indulgence. Then autumn arrives. The wind gets colder, the days grow shorter, there's a sense of things coming to an end. And this cycle, it mirrors our protagonist's own journey. At first, he's ecstatic to be in Capri, living this carefree life. But as the years pass, a shadow starts to creep in. He realizes he can't escape aging, can't escape the fact that, life is finite.
So even in paradise, there's this awareness of mortality.
Exactly. And this awareness, it starts to eat away at him, so to speak. He begins to wonder if he made the right choice, if maybe he wasted his life chasing pleasure instead of, achieving something meaningful.
Man, that's heavy stuff.
It is. And it gets even more complicated when you factor in the other characters in the story.
Oh, right. I was wondering about them. We've got this nameless main guy. What about the people he meets in Capri?
Right, so there's the narrator. He's the one telling the story, but he's also a character. He meets the protagonist, observes him, and he's both fascinated and a bit skeptical of this whole Lotus Eater experiment. It's almost like he represents the reader, trying to make sense of this guy's choices.
And it sounds like there are other Lotus Eaters on Capri, too.
There are, yeah. Some are expats, like the protagonist. Others are locals who've chosen a similar lifestyle. And they offer a range of perspectives on this whole idea of escaping from the world. Some seem content, they've found their peace, while others, they're more like cautionary tales.
Oh, cool.
Well, there's this woman, Miss Wilkinson. She's been living in Capri for decades, completely isolated, and she ends up pretty miserable. Her story suggests that running away from the world doesn't always lead to happiness. In fact, it can be pretty destructive.
So Maugham is showing us both sides of the coin, so to speak, the allure and the potential pitfalls of this Lotus Eater lifestyle.
Exactly. He's not giving us easy answers. He wants us to think, to wrestle with these questions ourselves. What does it really mean to be happy? Is there a right way to live?
It sounds like the kind of story that sticks with you long after you finish reading it.
It definitely does. Now, thinking about those exams you mentioned, I bet Maugham's writing style is going to come up.
Oh, for sure. Professors love to analyze that stuff.
Right. So here's the thing. Maugham's prose, it's elegant, precise, but it's also, it's deceptively simple. He's a master of understatement. But pay close attention to the details, to the way he uses language to create effects.
Like what?
Well, take his descriptions of Capri, for example. He uses such vibrant imagery, lush vegetation, sparkling water to create this sense of paradise, of escape. This contrasts sharply with his descriptions of London, which are, well, they're much more sterile, almost lifeless.
So it's not just what he's describing, but how he's describing it.
Exactly. The way he uses language reinforces the protagonist's initial attraction to Capri. It's also beautiful, so tempting. And this is something you can definitely discuss in your exam. How does Maugham's writing style contribute to the story's themes?
Great point. So to our listener prepping for that exam,
Hmm.
it's not enough to just retell the plot. They need to dig deeper.
Right. Analyze. Don't just say the setting is important. Explain how it functions symbolically. Don't just say the protagonist is seeking escape. Analyze his motivations, his inner conflicts. Use specific examples from the text to support your arguments.
Solid advice. So to recap, we've got this intriguing story about a guy who makes a radical life choice. And through this story, Maugham explores some pretty profound questions about happiness, fulfillment, the choices we make.
Right. And he does it in a way that's both thought-provoking and ultimately up to the reader to decide what it all means.
I like that. So to close things out, maybe a little food for thought for our listener.
Sure. Knowing what you now know about the protagonist's journey, would you choose that Lotus Eater life, knowing the potential consequences?
Ooh, that's a good one. Really makes you think about your own values and aspirations.
It does, doesn't it?
Well, on that note, I want to say best of luck to everyone out there facing those BA exams.
You got this.
Remember, strong analysis, textual evidence, and maybe a little bit of personal reflection, those are your keys to success. And hey, maybe a little bit of that Lotus Eater spirit wouldn't hurt either. Just maybe not too much.
Right.
All right, that's it for this deep dive. Until next time, happy studying, everyone.
See ya.
Bye.